Hey everyone! 2023 is shaping up to be a huge year for gaming already, with many new releases almost here. So today, I wanted to share with y'all what games I can't wait to play in the new year. Also, apologies for this video being later than anticipated. I'm recording this while actually having strep throat, so sorry if you can hear the sickness in my voice. These games are in no specific order, so let's just get right into that list. To start off this amazing list is Final Fantasy XVI. You play as Clive Rosefield, aka the first Shield of Rosaria, who's accepted the task of protecting his brother named Joshua. While we don't know much about the overall story, what we do know is that some familiar faces will be reappearing as summons. Ifrit, Shiva, Titan, Phoenix, and many more recognizable faces will be returning. The combat also looks very similar to what has been in previous games, as instead of a turn-based RPG, we'll be getting yet another action RPG. However, this is nothing new for the franchise. They've been doing this specific combat style since the release of Final Fantasy XI. It also seems like we'll be getting a new addition to combat: icons. From what we know, Clive will be able to, quote, channel various abilities attributed to specific summons. I'm going to assume this means that he'll be able to use certain abilities from summons like Ifrit in his regular move kit. They probably can't be spammed in battle, as that would be way too overpowered, but maybe it's like the limit system of Final Fantasy VII, where you have to charge it up from attacking. It seems like a super cool thing, however, and I can't wait to try it out. Final Fantasy XVI is also bringing back composer Masayoshi Soken, who worked on the Final Fantasy XIV soundtrack. The music from 14 slapped, so I'm so happy to hear that he's being brought back to work on this game. Overall, I can't wait to play this game for myself and see what it's all about when it releases on June 22nd exclusively for PlayStation 5. Persona 3 Portable is one of the most anticipated games of the year. After falling in love with Persona 5 Royal and Persona 4 Golden, I've been wanting to get my hands on their predecessor for well over a year now, and I can confidently say that I'm extremely excited to play. You play as either Makoto or Minato, and along with your fellow members in a school club called Seas, you try to figure out the Dark Hour. This secret time frame transports the party members into an alternate dimension where time stands still for an hour. You have to explore a giant tower that's erected from your school called Tartarus to find out what the source of the monsters called Shadows is. The gameplay seems to be your stereotypical turn-based RPG, where you have a party of 4 fighting against enemies. From what I've seen of trailers and limited gameplay, it seems Persona 4 and 5's combat system is almost identical to 3, which makes me super excited to see what this game has in store. I've already heard the vast majority of the soundtrack since getting into the franchise, but that's okay. I love every bit of the OST and I can't wait to see what songs go where in the grand scheme of things in the game. One thing, however, I'm not looking forward to is that this is portable and not FES. I'm fully aware that Portable is way more of a visual novel with 2D character portraits telling most of the story instead of 3D models. While that does make me a tad worried about if I'll enjoy the game the same as if I would enjoy FES or even the standard version, I'm very much used to playing visual novels with 2D character portraits, so it shouldn't be too much of a hindrance. The pros of this game vastly outweigh the cons in my opinion, so I've been counting down the days until Persona 3 Portable releases on January 19th for Switch, Xbox One Series X and S, PC, and PlayStation 4. I also want to make a side note for Persona 4 Golden real quick. I've already played the game on PC about a year and a half ago, and I actually regard it as my favorite game of all time. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. It is a super cool story about a murder mystery in the small town of Inaba, characters you'll fall in love with, great combat, and a spectacular soundtrack to boot. Persona 4 Golden released the same day as Persona 3 Portable, so you won't have to wait long to play this gem of a game. When Forspoken was announced back at the Game Awards in 2021, I knew I had to pick it up. I've been eagerly waiting for the game to come out, but after delay after delay, it seems to have a definite release date. In case you're unfamiliar with it, you play as Frey, a young woman who's transported from her home in New York to a mystical land called Athia. While she tries to find a way home, she has to harness magical powers to defeat enemies along the way. The game looks so beautiful, and I can kind of see why it keeps being delayed. We've been trying to stay away from as many trailers as I can to not spoil myself. From what I've seen, the game just looks so good. Well, that means I've also stayed away from the demo of Forspoken. I have confidence that I'll like the combat and overall gameplay. I'm also super hyped to have a female protagonist be the lead of this game. Frey's design looks pretty cool, and I can't wait to find out more about her when Forspoken releases on PlayStation 5 and PC on January 24th. I hope it releases then. Keep your fingers crossed. From the people that brought you The Messenger comes its prequel, Sea of Stars. You play as Valerie and Zale that have to combine their powers as the sun and moon to defeat evil creatures being created by an alchemist called the Fleshmancer. Along with their friend Garl and what seems to be a few more characters recorded on their website, they traverse the lands and fight enemies along the way. The game just looks fantastic. With what seems to be a new spin on the turn-based RPG genre, I know I'm gonna like this game. The art style alone won me over, and I've been doing so much research into what this game entails, and now I'm hooked. The characters look so cool and unique, and the world seems to be very gorgeous. According to their website, there seems to be other side activities to do like fishing, sailing, and cooking. While sometimes these side minigames can be boring in a few games, I have confidence in Sea of Stars to fully deliver. You know, what's funny is at the time of me recording this, I'm actually playing through the Messenger. I had no idea the two games were made by the same team, let alone connected to each other, so it makes me all the more excited to play this game when it releases sometime in 2023 for PlayStation 4 and 5, Switch, and PC. The Space for the Unbound looks to be a hidden gem this year, and I can't wait to try it out. You play as two high school sweethearts named Atma and Rhea, who are trying to live out the rest of their high school days until a mystic force threatens to take it all away. While I haven't played the prologue to prevent any spoilers for myself, I have full faith that this game will be good. The developers of this game, Tug Productions, made one of my favorite games I played last year called Coffee Talk. That game had excellent characters and a gorgeous art style, so I'm definitely intrigued with what's next with them and this game. I'm hyped to see them dive into more supernatural things, as well as how the game will progress overall. It seems that we'll be able to also, quote, dive into people's minds, according to their website. And while I'm not sure how exactly we're going to do that, what I do know is that the concept sounds super interesting, and I can't wait to see how it progresses and if it unlocks anything new, like side quest. While we don't know too much about this game, I'm excited to play it when it launches on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Series X/S, PC, and Switch on January 19th. I stumbled upon a trailer for this game out of the blue on my YouTube recommended page one day, and now I can't stop thinking about it. God of Rock combines two unlikely game genres, rhythm and fighting. At first I thought it'd feel super clunky to combine two genres that are vastly different from each other, but I couldn't be further from the truth. The premise is that the God of Rock has revived a bunch of musicians and entertainers to duke it out in fights for his own amusement. While the fighting mechanics seem to be staying relatively the same, it's actually the rhythm part that flips the game on its head. You have to attack your opponent on the beat. That instantly reminds me of Theatrhythm Final Fantasy, and it makes me very excited to try this out. I've never been good at fighting games, whether it be Super Smash Bros. Or Street Fighter, but I may be able to win some matches for once now that there's rhythm game elements. Another neat feature is that if you or your opponent hits the button input too early or too late, you're left vulnerable to attacks. Likewise, if you or your opponent get perfect timing on button inputs, they don't deal any damage. It really puts pressure on yourself to make sure you get that timing down, which I love. It seems also every character has a way to screw over your opponent with their own special ability. Whether it be to cloud up their layout so they can't see what button's coming up next, or speeding up their notes so they have a very hard time pressing them correctly, it makes every character have their own risks and rewards. God of Rock feels right up my alley, and I can't wait to actually win a match in a fighting game when it releases on April 18th for PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and Series X and S, and Switch. Okay, I took one glance at Storyteller and I knew I would fall in love with its charming art style and storytelling. You're given a prompt, whether that be like heartbreak or like falling in love, and you make your own comic with what characters and prompts the game gives you. From looking at the multiple trailers, it seems like the game offers and actually encourages you to try new and different scenarios to fit the prompt. An example for the prompt heartbreak could be a couple can fall in love, then an evil villain kills off one of them, or one of them could die from natural causes. It really looks to be giving us the freedom to play however we want to, and I can't wait to try it out. To top it off, Annapurna Interactive is publishing the game, and I love their stuff. They published many games I loved in 2022, like Stray, Neon White, and Anno Mutationem. I'm definitely excited and pumped to see what Storyteller offers us when it releases on March 23rd for Switch and PC. Amazing looking characters in 1080p? Yes, please. In Resident Evil 4, you play as Leon Kennedy, who's a survivor of the major disaster in Raccoon City. 6 years after the tragic event, you're tasked with finding the president's daughter in a secluded and eerie European village. Now, if you know me, you know I don't really play horror games, but it seems like RE4 is right up my alley with its gameplay and storytelling. I'm honestly kind of getting the Last of Us vibes just looking through a couple trailers and screenshots, which makes me very excited to see, as the first TLOU was phenomenal in my opinion. Graphically, Resident Evil 4 looks absolutely stunning. I know if the graphics look this good throughout the entire game, it'll make me very happy. I'm hoping and praying though that Capcom doesn't pull a Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion and make it so the game's only good in certain cutscenes while the rest of it is grainy and outright blurry. After playing through a bit of Resident Evil 1 in 2022 and not liking it, I'm ready to see why people love this series so much. I can't wait to give this franchise another chance when Resident Evil 4 releases on March 24th for PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Okay, Loop 8 seems poised to be an underrated game this year. Nini, our protagonist, is actually not from Earth. He was raised on a space station called Hope after his family survived the alien attack by the Kegai? I don't know how to say that. We aren't sure why he returns to Earth, but he comes back home nevertheless to a city in rural Japan called Ashihara. With his ability called Demon Sight, which lets him see the monsters, he actually has to protect the city from being overrun by them. But what's extremely unique about this game is the fact that literally every decision you make matters. Yes, even in dialogue. All the characters Nini interacts with are emotionally driven AI, which means that however you respond to dialogue will influence not only your relationships with the characters, but how they do in battle. If you talk to them in the way they like, they get increased buffs during the turn-based RPG portion of the game. So then that begs the question, why is this game called Loop 8 in the first place? Well, you replay the entire month of August over and over again until you save the world. Now, I'm not sure how this will impact social relationships, like if the characters will keep those same stat increases on another replay of the month, or if everything goes reset. However, a gripping problem I have with this game is actually something quite small. The camera movements. From looking at a couple trailers, it looks to be put in a very weird and wonky position. It also seems like half the time it just doesn't move from its stationary position, so you have Nini running around when the camera just stays completely still. Let's just hope this problem is fixed and more when Loop 8 Summer of the Gods releases in Q2, so around April, May, or June in the West, for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Honestly, Pepper Grinder reminds me a lot of Shovel Knight Dig. In a good way, of course. Our protag is Pepper, a girl who gets shipwrecked on an island and subsequently gets all her treasure stolen by the evil Narings. Armed with her trusty drill named Grinder, she has to dig through all sorts of materials to reclaim her treasure. Gosh, does this gameplay look so fun and riveting. As mentioned earlier, I'm kind of getting the Shovel Knight Dig vibes from this. While sadly I have not played the game at the moment, just comparing the two makes me really excited to see what's in store for Pepper Grinder. It looks so fast-paced and seems to be challenging yet rewarding. Knowing me, I'm probably going to struggle with the game a lot as moving around Pepper seems to be more difficult than your average platformer. I don't know, the movement just seems like it's going to be a challenge for me and I'll probably get upset at it, but you know what, that's okay. Apart from gameplay, the art style just looks so pretty. I'm a sucker for that pixel-esque look, so I'm definitely excited to see how the game will utilize it. I can't wait to see what the full extent of the story will be as well when Pepper Grinder releases sometime in 2023 for PC and Switch. Danganronpa fans are ecstatic right now, I bet. Master Detective Archive's Rancode focuses on a boy named Yuma who joins a detective agency alongside a spirit named Shinigami who follows him around. The group's task is to solve criminal cases around the city by gathering evidence and testimonies from witnesses. However, not everything is as it seems. A perplexing place called a Mystery Lab opens up, which allows Yuma and Shinigami to find out the truth of what actually happened. Layered with traps and other gimmicks, the two must get to the bottom of what's happening. You know, this game feels like the child of Ace Attorney and Danganronpa, and I'm so here for it. I'm a huge fan of mystery games like those, so to see something brand new coming to the genre has me so enthusiastic. I can't wait to explore the city and gather evidence to witness testimony along the way. The character designs look so great as well. Along with that pretty art style, I know we're in for a treat. I honestly have high expectations for Rancode solely because it's coming from Spike Chunsoft, the creators of the Somnium Files, Danganronpa, and one of my favorite game series of all time, Zero Escape. I hope I didn't set the bar too high, as Master Detective Archive's Rancode releases exclusively on Switch sometime in spring 2023. I want to put some honorable mentions on here as well. These games I'm just as excited to play, but didn't want to write a whole thing for them. Please enjoy this small compilation.
Yeah, we were wild and free, and you know everything about
Thank you all so much for watching. What games are you looking forward to playing this year? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and ding that bell to keep up with what I post next.